Hello everyone, my name is Babamots. I'm going to be giving you a quick tour of the Super Duper Games website. This is a site where you can play many different abstract board games asynchronously, means by email. So they've got something like 100 fairly obscure abstract strategy board games that you can play by email, where you have a few days to make your move, to think about your move, and then you make your move, and your opponent will get an email telling them that it's their turn, and then they get a few days to make their move, and then you'll get an email telling you it's your turn. And this site is a little old and slow, but it's the only place in the world where you can play most of these games. When you first arrive on the website, you'll see something like this. If you don't have an account yet, you can make one down here. I do have an account, so I'm going to log in. As I click around here, you're going to see repeatedly that things load a little slower than you would expect on a modern website, but this is not a particularly modern website, and for a site where you get days to think about your move, a minute for a page to load hopefully is not holding you back too much. Alright, so on your profile page, you'll see a list at the bottom of the games where it is your turn. I'm only in one game right now. Below that is a game that I am monitoring. I'm interested in this game, and so I could click on that and see how that's going, but instead I'm going to click on this game where it's my turn. I'm playing a game of Homeworlds. Down here we see the actual state of the game. I've got my homeworld here. I've got 3 ships. My opponent, Stevie, also has 3 ships, and he's discovered a new colony out here. Let's see. I should decide what I should want to do here. I think I'd like to trade my medium green for a medium yellow. But, oh dear, if I click on it, if I click on the board, then it just opens another picture of the board. What am I going to do? Okay, well, let's close that and go back. The way that you make moves on this website is you type them in to this command box up at the top. So if the command box is there, it's your turn. If it's not there, it's not your turn. So, this is not the case for every game that you could play, but for Homeworlds at least, there is a list of all of the commands that you can enter right over here to the side. So I want to trade a ship. I want to trade old ship, new ship, in system. That means the ship that I used to have, which is a G2, the ship that I want to have is a Y2, and the name of the system where I want that to happen is Babamots. Then I'm going to hit Submit Orders. The page reloads, and here's the new state of the game. So my opponent, Stevie, will have just got an email telling him that it's his turn, and sometime in the next 10 days, he will come back and make his move. Probably much sooner, but at 10 days, that's when he'll run out of time, and I can end the game showing him as the loser if I want to. So like I said, this it goes slow. Importantly, and you'll see this some other places on the site, this is the clock setting 3/2/10. That does not mean March 2nd of 2010. That means 3 is the number of days that you start with when this game began. We each started with 3 days on our clock. Each time we make a move, we get 2 days added to our clock. But that amount of time is capped at 10 days. So you see the 10 days down here. Each of us has been moving fast enough that we've accumulated the maximum amount of time. So if Stevie moves soon, then he'll just stay at 10 days. If he waits for a day or two, then that timer's going to start ticking down very slowly. Now, down here, there's the notebook where you can write notes to yourself. So my note to myself is that I need to win this game, and I'm going to save the note, and that's going to stay here. When you're playing a game that lasts many days, especially if you're playing many games that last many days, you may forget what was going on in the game. You may forget your plans. You can write a note to your future self about your plans so that you can remember them down here. Down below, you can write messages to your opponent. So the text in red is the messages that we've typed back and forth to each other. The messages in black are the system telling us how the state of the game has changed. We established homeworlds, then we built ships, then we've been moving and trading. That's the stuff in black. A common mistake that Stevie experienced was that he tried to use the chat box down here to enter his command. He said, build G1 in Stevie. That doesn't work. You've got to enter it in the command box up at the top. That's how it works. So that's how you play a game once it's already going, but how do you get into a game in the first place? That's a good question. You need to go to the challenges page up here at the top. This will give you a list of all of the existing challenges in every game. So if you, like me, are interested primarily in Homeworlds, then you'll scroll down here to the Homeworlds section, and you can choose either to join a game that somebody else has issued a challenge. So D.L. Wilson, he's issued an open challenge. Anybody can join him in this game, so I could jump into that game by clicking Join Game right there. There's some of these other challenges that I can't join. What's going on here? Well, Trident has challenged the player Raid specifically. Raid is in parentheses. That means that the challenge was issued to a specific person. I can't join that one because there's no room for me. It's a two-person game, and the opponent has been selected manually, and it's not me. Down here is a challenge that I issued myself, that it's just open. I'm waiting for somebody to join, and I could cancel this by clicking Leave Game. But maybe what I want to do is I want to issue a new challenge. Maybe I want to challenge someone specific. Maybe I want to challenge Trident, for example. Then I click on New Challenge. And when the page loads, I can specify some details of that challenge. So if I wanted to play with more than 2 people, I could pick that here. If I wanted to not have the site randomly choose who goes first, I could choose who goes first here. I can pick hard time. I can make it so that when a person's time runs out, they're automatically kicked from the game. I can make it so that people don't have the option to undo. I don't like that button. I like to have the option to undo. If I was worried about losing and didn't want to lose my rank points, then I could make this an unrated game. If I was playing with 3 or more people, I could make this a sinister game. In Homeworlds, normally the objective is to be the last player remaining, but in a 3 or 4 player game, you can also make it so that the objective of the game is simply to eliminate the opponent on your left. So every game has some variants that you can select here. Homeworlds is the one that we're looking at, but every game, Abandy and Alfred's Wyke and Owlman and all of the others, Pikeman and all the other games on the site have some options you can choose up here. Anyway, now you can, optionally, you can choose your opponent. So let's say I wanted to play Trident. See if I can find Trident on this list. There he is. I want to challenge Trident specifically. I can choose that. I can choose him, or if I don't want to choose anybody, I can use Control-click to unselect the person that I've selected on here. Or if I want to challenge several people, I click a person, then hold down Control while I challenge several people at once if I want to have them all in this game. And of course, you can't select more people than the number of players that you've chosen for the game. So I'm going to challenge Trident, and I'm going to have a note on here that it's the challenge that I'm making for the video. And here we see the clock settings again. How much time do I want to put on the clock to start with? Well, the settings I usually like is we start with 7 days on the clock. 2 days get added to your clock every time you make a move, up to a maximum of 7, no more than a week. A week is long enough to wait for your opponent to move, I think. Don't worry about the force score threshold. And I issue the challenge, and that'll now show up on the list. There it is. I've got one challenge unrated that's to anybody who wants to join me, and here's another one for that's just for Trident. Trident can join me, but no one else has that option. So Trident will have just got an email that he's been challenged. Now, if you're like some of these players and you really, really like a particular game, maybe you like Pikeman or Praetorian or Homeworld so much that you just want to always have a challenge, then you can issue a standing challenge, manage standing challenges. Say, I want to have a standing challenge for, let's say, Pikeman. I hit go, and now, okay, what are the time settings you want to have for these Pikeman games? and maximum number of games. So you can have multiple standing challenges. That means that even if somebody accepts your standing challenge, the site will immediately issue a new one. I think 2 is probably plenty. 2-player pikeman game, that sounds good. And we could choose to have a 15 or 20-point game. That's a long pikeman game. 12 is the standard. I don't think I want to use one of those variants, so I'm going to use the regular 12-point game. Save standing challenge. There it is. And now this is listed on my standing challenges list. And if we go back to the challenges page and go to pikeman, there's now a standing challenge from me. So anybody could come along and join this game. You could play me at pikeman. And as soon as that game's over, since it's a standing challenge, the site will reissue that challenge, and I'll just be ready to play again right away. Those are the most important features. There are a bunch of other links you can click up here to explore yourself, to see the other things on this site. It's an older site for people who want to play a little slower, but for most of these games, this is the only place in the world that you can play these games online. And I think without exception, this is the only place in the world to play any of these games online asynchronously. There is another website for playing Homeworlds, my favorite game on here, and the most popular game on the site. Homeworlds Live is a new site for playing that in real time. But only place to play this asynchronously. Hopefully that will make the site a little less intimidating. You can jump on and start playing. Thanks.